Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Got a little something different for you this week. I welcome Grant Garrison to the show. Grant is a high-performance golf coach with 40 years as a PGA member. He's been an Olympic golf coach, college coach, and is a dedicated specialist in adaptive golf. His YouTube channel is Pure Impact Golf. And in addition to all of that, he's a good sport. He lives in Australia and agreed to do this interview early one morning before he headed out to the golf course. We experienced some connectivity issues, so I apologize up front for some less than perfect audio. But his message came across loud and clear. I really enjoyed speaking with him and came away from the conversation with a new view on how I need to approach my quest to break 80. I hope you find it as interesting as I did. So let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Grant Garrison. All right, we are live. And Grant, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Frank.
First, I just wanted to say thank you for being here. We are on opposite sides of the world. So as we start this recording, it's 5 p.m. East Coast time in the U.S. and 7 a.m. where you are in Australia. I apologize for not being able to offer you a cup of coffee or something at this time of the morning.
That's all right. I got one right beside me.
All right. Well, then you're set. Just a little history, a little background on how, again, two people on opposite sides of the world end up having a golf conversation is I received an email from friend of the show, Luke, who had what I thought was an interesting question. And it's a question I've asked myself. I think people who listen to the podcast have the same thoughts. And in order to, I had thoughts on how to answer the question, but I wanted to get some different perspectives and different points of view. So as all great minds of this time do, I went to the internet and started looking around and I came across you and I came across your YouTube channel. And I think the first video I watched was called Why Golf Feels Harder After 50. And it tied exactly into Luke's question. And after that, I watched a bunch of videos and I'm going to post in the show notes links to those videos to the over 50 golf reset. I thought your material, your content was great. And it's really, I think, ties into what I'm trying to do here with the podcast.
Sounds good.
So here's the question. And here's what Luke sent in. His question was, he said, I'm about 15 years older than you. So I'm in my late 50s. That would put Luke in his early 70s. He says, and the clock is running for me. I was wondering, does athletic ability come into play at some point in our journey? If I was a sprinter, there would be a point where I could outwork everyone and my time in the 100-yard dash would not get any faster. Is it the same with golf? And just a little additional perspective, Luke is on kind of the same, he'd love to break 80. His best round last year, he made double bogey on 18 for an 80. So he possesses the skill to be there, but feels like the clock is running and is wondering, I guess, how age affects our ability to play better golf.
Well, that's right. That's a great question.
So, I mean, how would you answer that question? What are your thoughts on as we age, can we continue to play better golf? Can someone in their 60s, 70s, can they break 80? Can they shoot their age?
Well, the kind of the first question he was talking about is athletic ability. Does it play a part? And it certainly does. The more athletic, more coordination you have as a young person, yeah, it plays out in your game. However, when you get older, you start losing your club foot speed. But it doesn't mean you have to lose very much ball speed. And that's the difference.
So you can lose club head speed, but not lose ball speed. How does that happen?
Well, that happens because you can start looking at your impact conditions and make sure that you're compressing the golf ball at its as the best you possibly can. And that means you have to look at your impact conditions to see what could be improved. The fact is senior tour players on the PGA Tour, they have less speed than the guys that are not on the seniors. And when you get into your 60s, it generally goes down even more. And the problem is that if you do speed training at that age, you're very likely to hurt yourself. Your recovery is just not going to be the same.
So it's an interesting point that you bring up the senior tour on the PGA, and that was one of the things that when I responded to Luke, I said that clearly athleticism does play into it. If it didn't, there wouldn't be a senior tour, right? There's a reason there's a senior tour. That, to your point, as those guys age, they're still great golfers, but they do lose club head speed. They lose distance, and just wouldn't be able to compete with guys that are whatever 22, 23, 24 years old coming on to the PGA Tour. But I mean, that's at the very highest levels of golf. For those of us that are amateurs, I I compared. So in my younger years, I played a lot of basketball. Played through high school, college, played in leagues as an early adult, and today, while I can't dunk a basketball anymore and would certainly not want to, I might last 3 or 4 times up and down in a full court game. If we were to play a game of horse, like I still possess the ability to shoot. I think pretty quickly it comes back to me what a 10-footer feels like, what a 15-footer feels like, what a 25-footer feels like. And I think in a lot of ways, golf is kind of like horse. There's nobody out there playing defense. Maybe the wind or the elements are some days, but it's just, can we make a shot? And I think it's something that even as we get older, if we have the right skill set, we can still make good golf shots.
Yeah, I agree. And as you get older, I think sometimes it's not fun and we don't like it, but there needs to be a reset in the score that we can actually shoot. Because eventually your ball speed will actually go down. And breaking 80 might not be possible, but maybe breaking 90. If you're 90 years old, breaking 90 or 100 is probably pretty good. So
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
idea is that we can play our best golf and enjoy it as we age, whatever that age is.
Yeah, and I think and enjoying it is, I think, a really important piece of that. At what point do you think it makes sense to move either up or back in terms of the tees that you're playing? Right? I mean, golf is set up that you've got kind of the back tees for the long hitters, intermediate tees, you've got senior tees, you've got women's tees, and I do think there's a stigma sometime to not wanting to move up to those senior tees, but to your point, it's about going out and enjoying the game. So when do you think it makes sense to move up a set of tees? And maybe that's what helps you continue to shoot the scores that you would like to shoot as you lose some distance.
Well, ideally, you want to play the tees that you enjoy the most, but keep in mind we have this regulation part in our mind, and we don't need to have that in our mind. I mean, if you're a shorter hitter and you like to hit a lot of greens in regulation, then yeah, you're gonna probably need to be up front. But that doesn't mean you can't go back all the way back and enjoy that round as well, as long as you can get to the fairways on your drive. But you would just reset what your score should be. You'll probably hit very few greens and regulations from back there. That doesn't mean you can't shoot, within probably 10 shots of your normal round and enjoy it just the same. It's just a different way of playing.
And do you think those numbers matter? Like, do we get stuck on, I want to break 90 or I want to break 80 and go out and shoot a round of 82 and feel like that was a failure, as opposed to, again, enjoying the day and seeing progress and like what's really the difference? It's an arbitrary number between going out and shooting a 79 or shooting an 81.
Absolutely. I like to I like to evaluate my round of golf by how much I enjoy it. And that might not have anything to do with score. It might be my conversations with the person I was playing with. And sometimes I like to challenge myself and only use maybe 2 or 3 clubs in a round of golf. So that just kinda takes score out of it, just for fun. And and that challenge you to play kind of a different game. And when you're finished with it, you'll go, "Wow, I can't believe I hit that shot on number 17, on number 7. That was fantastic. I had a blast today doing something, very different, and I wasn't trying to break 80, I wasn't trying to break 100. I was just trying to have a blast."
Yeah, and that I think that's a great suggestion, and that kind of creativity, right, then finds its way into when you are out playing a regular round and you have a shot to hit that you're not used to hitting, but you go back to, you know, maybe it was hitting a pitch or a chip with a club that you wouldn't normally hybrid, some that you had to because you didn't have any wedges in your bag, and that creativity can find its way into your normal golf game and in the end help you play better golf.
That's right. Many years ago, we had a PJ meeting, and we always have a competition afterwards. And the host pro came out and said, "Look, we're going to do things differently. Everybody has to go pick one club out of their bag. We're playing 18 holes with one club.
Wow.
No, you can't use your putter. One club." And then we all came in for a drink and a conversation afterwards to talk about it. And the consensus was that everybody had more fun on the golf course that day than they had in years.
So what was the right answer? And I know there's no right answer. What club would you choose? You have one club you can go out and play with. What club are you choosing?
Well, that day I chose a I chose a lofted hybrid, and I just prayed that I wouldn't get a bunker. So I aimed away from the bunkers. But that actually, a lot of the
Yeah,
guys hit 8 irons and 7 irons, and I was out driving them. So I felt like that might be the club. But everybody chose something different.
it sounds like a lot of fun. All right, I'm going to break in here for just a minute because as we got to the next piece of our conversation, really had some technical difficulties. The audio quality is not great. So just wanted to summarize a little bit what we talked about. And I posed a question to Grant, which was, as we look at golfers over 45 or 50 or 60, that there's a couple of different groups there, right? One group may have played golf in their younger years and then got away from it for a period of time because things got in the way, life, kids, career. And now a little later in life, they're getting back to golf, but they have a foundation. They have something to build onto. I think that's one group. Second group is a group that doesn't have that foundation. Is new to the game. And the question was, is the advice different for those two different golfers? And if those players that are new to the game are looking for coaching or instruction, what should they be looking for? So Grant was consistent and talked about that golfers new to the game, his focus would be on trying to get them not to focus on score and to focus on becoming better ball strikers. The way to get there is through learning to control impact conditions. And the way to score better is to be a better ball striker. If you can do that, if you can be a great ball striker, you can be a good golfer. If you're looking for coaching, if you're looking for instruction, and you come across an instructor whose primary focus is to make your golf swing look a certain way, should probably go in the other direction. If their focus is on impact conditions and helping you to be a better ball striker, that's a coach, in Grant's opinion, that can help you get there, can help you to be a better player. That conversation then led to a conversation on technology and how it has changed the game and changed how we look at some of these conditions. And that's where we will pick up. Let's get on with the conversation. So the question I was asking was, and we were talking about that there's been tremendous change in technology that I'm sure you've seen over your career in not just golf balls and golf clubs, but in TrackMan and the ability to really see impact and club head speed and ball speed and his angle of attack. And like we said, but before I lost you there, look, people played good golf long before all of these things came along. Has the technology been good, and are we using it appropriately?
Well, it's amazing. I mean, the latest thing on the market right now is something that your viewers can all use. It's called Sportsbox. So Sportsbox is a 3D system you can use on your phone, and it's tied in with AI. So there's a free version if somebody wants to just take a look. It'll give you a tip. And then there's a paid version, and then there's a pro version, which I used for a year. But the problem is that it's still a modeling program. So what they've done is they've over years they've figured out exactly what a perfect golf swing would look like based on PGA Tour players, every angle, and so they compare your golf swing to those averages, and so there we are. We're still back into a model system. What if you can't do it? Just like you said, what if your pelvis doesn't rotate that way? What if you've got
Yeah,
a bad back? I teach a lot of my students are actually handicapped. I've got a client with no legs that's a 6 handicap. So he's got 2 prosthetic legs and he wins tournaments. Well, he can't move his pelvis, not at all. So these modeling systems really they only apply if you have the body of a PGA Tour player, flexibility wise, mobility wise, strength
yeah,
wise, and that's a big ask. That's not the golfers that play around the world.
yeah. That's interesting, and I guess with all of these things, right, you can collect data, but then it comes down to who's interpreting that information. It's going to a doctor, right? Everybody can run the tests, but you hope that the person who's looking at those test results has the kind of the knowledge to interpret them properly and help you resolve whatever it is you're trying to resolve. And I think with these golf swing apps, it's kind of the same thing. I don't know that I'm qualified to look at my swing on a golf app and decide what I should do with that information.
Well, that's very true. It's kind of like me opening up the hood of my car. It's like I know there's something wrong, but there it is, an engine.
Yeah, exactly.
And most people are that way. A lot of people aren't visual either. Most people are visual, but some people aren't. So when I ran my indoor studio, it was interesting because I've got a model up there, and I would have some people look at it, and it would clearly show where they are. I actually use an overlay program, so the model would actually overlay right over your golf swing, so you could clearly see the differences. And I would have students look at it and go, "Well, I don't know what I'm looking at. What
Yeah,
am I supposed to learn here? What am I supposed to feel? What am I supposed to
right.
do?" I go, "B, it's right there. Can't you see it?"
Yeah,
And they would go, "No, not really." Are you gonna when are you gonna give me the lesson?
right. Yeah,
I said, "Well, I just gave you the lesson."
and and I think you said something important there, which is feel. And so I do. I've taken lessons at Golf Tech, and while I'm in the studio and I have the cameras on me, I can make changes. I see exactly where I am, where my body is, but I don't really absorb the feel, right? And then I go out and you're on a golf course and you're out in the wide open spaces and there's no camera. There's nothing telling me if my alignment's right. Am I aimed in the right direction? I mean, so feels a big piece that I think is lost in some of those if you can't transfer the feel from inside to outside, it's just not going to move to the golf course. Another quick break in the action here, more technical difficulties. When we pick back up, we are talking about emulating the swing of the best golfers in the world. Here we go. Well, I watched Scotty Scheffler in the Scheffler shuffle that when he hits a drive and his rear foot kind of slides out from under him. I don't know that I want to emulate that, but it certainly works for the best player in the world.
Absolutely, and that's what we do, isn't it? We watch PGA Tour players, and whoever the hottest player is, we try to copy their swing. They must have it.
Yeah, he's got something going on there. Something's working.
And
Do
I
you?
tell you what, wasn't very long ago when Matthew Wolff everybody was trying to copy Matthew Wolff. So,
Yeah, you're.
it's just, whoever the hottest player is, we're all out there trying it.
Yeah, and I get it. But I think what you make is an excellent point, is it really doesn't matter what that golf swing looks like as long as we're making good contact with the golf ball.
Oh, well, contact, when you look at this is what people need to know, your audience, is that the impact conditions are not just contact. So contact would be just one of them. So your 4 core impact conditions that make you play really good golf would be number 1 would be low point, and then second would be face angle, number 3 would be contact, and number 4 would be the path of the golf club, which allows you to shape shots and make you hit a straight shot. So those are your 4 core. Now you've got some other ones too. You've got dynamic loft, you've got angle of attack, and you've got speed. But if you just pay attention to those 4 core impact conditions, every time you miss a shot, you should be able to identify which one was wrong. And when you identify which one was wrong, then you know exactly which one to focus on and improve. Now, your swing changes should adapt to those impact conditions. Let's say, for example, that your low point is out. Let's say you hit a lot of fat and thin shots. That means your low point is behind the golf ball. And that, for most golfers, that's why they're an 18 handicap, because they hit about 18 of those shots per round, and they create an extra shot on your round of golf. So if you can master low point, that will automatically reduce your score by a lot. Now, how do you work on that? Well, you have to find the controls that control low point. And that means that when you find those controls and you improve low point, that's a change that your body can make. You're you're allowing your body, you're identifying what movement in your body controls that low point. And when that starts to make sense, then you can improve at light speed.
And do you think, and you've been coaching golf for a long time, and now you've got a presence on YouTube. Can someone can someone learn those things from watching and practicing, but watching the right YouTube videos and working on it on the driving range or in their garage or wherever they work on their golf game?
Absolutely. And you can learn that from my YouTube channel. I've got a playlist that says, in fact, you just look for start here, and it'll go through every one of those impact conditions, like I just mentioned, but also the controls that control them. So, for example, I mentioned low point before. Well, what are the controls that move it? Well, it would be your pelvis center and your chest center. So then I give you ideas on how to feel some different things, and then also how to know if you're moving it. And then we go into face angle, we go into contact, we go into path. And so that's an entire playlist. What I would stay away from is any YouTube videos that are trying to tell you how to make a perfect takeaway, because a takeaway doesn't have anything to do with impact. I can take the club way inside or way outside, like Matthew Wolf or somebody else that takes it inside, and I can still arrive at the same place at contact. Stay away from those videos that are trying to model you after a perfect swing, and just pay attention to your impact conditions. Every time you miss it, you may have gotten 3 of those impact conditions, but you missed 1. That could create a bad shot. And when you master each one of those, you automatically become a great ball striker. Now, becoming a great ball striker is the first thing you need to do in order to break 80.
Okay. It's for the YouTube videos that, they kinda make me laugh, and I try to stay away from are the ones that are, "This one easy move will add 30 yards to your drive," or this one
Yeah.
I don't think there's really anything easy about golf, and that,
No.
whatever it is, it's gonna take some work. I just don't believe I can watch a 5-minute YouTube video and add 30 yards to my drive the next time I go out and play golf.
Exactly. Tiger Woods used to do something called he would call it deep practice. He would choose one shot or one impact condition to work on, and he would work on it until he was just exhausted. And then he would come back the next day and do it all over again. And he said that's when the deep practice happened. And that's when I see my students really improve. For
Yeah,
example, low point. Low point has two measurements: the depth the club hits the ground and also where it is relative to the golf ball. So with an iron, with a mid iron, you need to be able to hit the ground. And the other part is you need to hit the ground in front of the golf ball, and you need to do it 100 out of 100 times. You need to master that because if you don't, it's a fat or a thin shot. It affects your dynamic loft. You hit the ball too high, too low. You blade your chip shots over the green. You don't compress the golf ball. So you just master that one thing. So instead of trying to model your golf swing after a tour player, why don't you spend that time working on your low point? Because that right there eliminates just about every miss on the golf course.
I think personally, like that's great advice for me. That something that I need to work on, and because I do hit fat shots and thin shots, and because I do not do that, to your point, 100 times out of 100 times, which means there's room there. There's room there for improvement.
Yep.
So golf has been your life for a long time. Do you still enjoy going out and playing recreationally?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I do. Probably more so, more so since I started doing disability golf coaching because I have, because they want to go play golf. So I'm out there
Yeah,
playing golf with them. When I was giving private lessons all day long, I'd give, 10 or 15 private lessons in one day. The last place I wanted to go on my day off was the golf course, and I didn't and I because my focus was on my students all day long, I let my golf game go. So, a lot of golf coaches, we just kinda give up on our own game because we're too busy trying to get everybody else to play well, and we don't enjoy it enough when we go
yeah.
out there because our skills have not been attuned. But but today I'm 64 years old right now. In the last 4 years, 4 or 5 years, I've found my game again on the golf course, and it's been a lot of fun.
What do you see, if anything? What do you see out on the golf course that bothers you?
Oh, great question. Taking too
This is a
much
whole nother
time.
list. It's a whole nother podcast.
Oh my gosh, I was yesterday I was behind I was with my blind student, right? So, we
Yeah,
actually play fairly fast, all right? He's 19 years old and he's blind, and I'm leading him around, and we're playing fairly fast. I'm just caddy and coach, and we've got a twosome in front of us that is holding us up because this guy looked like he's been to golf deck, and he was going through the whole routine, and it was taking him, oh my gosh, he was a minute over the golf ball taking his practice swings, and you could tell he was in his head, and every time he hit the golf ball, he hit it fat. So the
yeah,
ball would go 20, 30 meters after all this preparation. And they finally let us go through after like 4 holes. And, I look at that and I go, "You know, you're not focused on your impact conditions, you're focused on trying to make this you're assuming that perfect golf swing you have in your head is gonna actually give you the right low point." It's not. Just get
yeah,
up to the golf ball, try to get the club to hit in front of the golf ball and do it quickly and use that athleticism that you might actually possess, but you're not using.
yeah, yeah. That's fun, because man, I've had those days. I mean, I've had those days where after a lesson, there's so much going on in my head that that's
Yeah,
standing over a golf ball and trying to hit it becomes almost, mission impossible. Whereas to your point, it just set up, use that athleticism and hit the golf ball.
that's right. And you might have then the important thing, Frank, is that right after you hit the golf ball, because there are not very many perfect shots really, are there? The last shot we hit on each hole goes in the hole, so that's really the only perfect one. All the rest of them are misses to some degree. Might be a great shot, but still a bit of a miss because it didn't go in the hole, right? So that step right afterwards is really important. Which impact condition could have been a little bit better? Look, I got my low point right in front of the golf ball. That was a perfect divot. I hit the ball dead straight, so my face was square. My path was perfect, but that ball came up a little bit short, about 5 meters short. And I think I caught it on the toe just a little bit. Well, that's your contact. So your contact needs to improve just a little bit. And you do this all the way around the golf course, evaluating your misses through the lens of your impact conditions. And what happens is the more you play, the better you get because you're fine tuning all the way around the golf course.
So so I've gotta ask, and you said that you were out on the course with your blind golf student. How does obviously, the rest of us are very visual on the golf course. I understand that would need some coaching from you and caddying in terms of direction and where the ball is going, but there's gotta be a lot of feel there, right? I mean, we were talking about feel before. I've got to believe that feel is a big part of the game when you can't look down and see the golf ball.
It was kind of interesting yesterday because my blind student's father came out, and he's always looking for a little lesson as well, and just kind of follows us around and hits a golf ball, and I always give him a tip, and his alignment is so far off. So he's lined up. He was left-handed, so he's lined up maybe 30 meters to the left, and I could not seem to get him to go straight because it felt so strange. My blind student, his son, lines up perfect every time because he can't see, and I'm lining him up for him.
Mhm.
I thought, well, visually sometimes that gets us in trouble, doesn't it?
It does.
Because
And,
our
and it
perception is different than what we're actually getting. With my blind student, I just line
100%.
up for the golf ball, I get the club face square, I get everything set, and I just go, "Green light, go." And
Yeah.
he doesn't take any time at all, he just stripes it right down the middle.
Yeah. That's amazing. So what else? If you wanted to leave us with some final suggestions, words of wisdom for those of us out there grinding and look, just trying to play better golf. To your point where we started, have a good time out on the golf course, but find a way to improve our games.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I would say golf is a struggle. It's part
Yeah.
of the joy of it all to try to figure it out. But, yeah, if I just said anything to help people score lower would be to stop modeling your golf swing after a tour player and use your athleticism the best you can and focus on your low point, focus on contact with the golf ball, focus on getting the right path of your golf club right, focus on the things that actually control the ball because ball control is what we're after. So you have to address what actually matters the most. And it's not necessarily your golf swing. It is your golf swing, but it's the golf swing that gives you the best impact conditions. That's what we're chasing.
Yeah. Hey, well, I, Grant, I appreciate it. Again, you've been a great sport. I really appreciate you taking the time out this morning. Thank you. Like I said, I'll in the show notes will be links to all your stuff. I absolutely believe everybody should go out and check it out. I think there's a lot of good information out there. I know I short game is something I've been working on. I think that's a place where I potentially could gain or lose a lot of strokes. And I watched some chipping and pitching. I watched one the other day where it was different chipping with a 9 iron, then chipping with a wedge, in terms of how far the ball travels in the air and then how far it rolls out. And I thought that was an interesting video. And it's something I worked on the golf course a little bit the other day. Needs more. It's not ready for prime time yet, but I thought it was an interesting video.
Yeah, I did a video about Paul Runyon's style. I used to know Paul Runyon and worked
Yeah.
with him,
Yeah.
and I did a video. It was just a chipping video, and it's got almost 100,000 views. That's like, I did not expect that for a chipping video. And I noticed afterwards that a lot of other people are doing the same video. So I think we all kind of
Yeah.
copy each other.
Yeah. But again, it's a big piece of the game. I know it's one of the things that I've been tracking how many shots I take inside of 100 yards over a round of golf and including putts. I mean, it's more than half. It's probably 2/3 of the shots that I take on the golf course every day. So that is an area where a little bit of improvement really has the potential to take strokes off the game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, probably the biggest one is three putting. So when you look at higher handicappers, they three putt a whole lot more than than a lower handicap golfer, and they just can't seem to get the right speed. Uh, got a video on that, and it's really quite interesting because I used to run a for 7 years, I ran a Nike Golf Learning Center where I gave nothing but beginner golf lessons and intermediate golf lessons all day long. And when we got to the long putting course, I told him that you don't look at the golf ball when you're long putting. You look at the hole and you keep your eyes on the hole. You keep your eyes on where you're going. Now, these beginner golfers, they didn't know. No, they weren't television watchers. They didn't watch the PGA Tour. So they believed me. I said, no, in long putting, you look at the hole because the ball's not going anywhere. You're not going to miss it. And we need to really focus on where you're going. It's kind of like shooting a basketball or throwing a ball. And all my beginner golfers were amazing at long putting because I told them you're never supposed to look at the ball. You'll forget where you're going. And
Yeah.
you don't focus on the stroke either. You just do it naturally, like you're tossing a ball. And they were all amazing. Now, later on, a lot of them would come back and go, no, 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 I've been watching golf and they don't do that. I've been watching golf on TV. You're wrong. I said, well, look, you can look at the ball if you want to, but just do it at the very last second, okay? And then you can look like a pro on TV. But keep your mind on where you're going.
And the funny thing is, if you were wrong, but it worked better, I mean, it'd be a great way to putt.
Absolutely. I've been doing that for 15 years. I don't look at the golf ball when I putt. I only look at the hole.
And and I'm glad you brought it up because I did. I watched your putting video and I saw you looking at the hole and not let, and again, I was wondering if it was just for the video, but no, that's the way you putt.
I literally cannot bring myself to look at the ball. It would be like if I was shooting the basketball, I would look at the ball. It's like, why would I look at the ball? I wouldn't know where I was going. I wouldn't be able to focus
Right,
on the rim.
right. Yeah,
And so it just doesn't make any sense to me at all to look at the ball. And I asked people, I said, why do you look at the ball? Are you afraid you're gonna miss the ball? And they'll go, well, yeah, I could miss it if I'm not looking at it. I said, well, let's try that out and see if that actually happens.
yeah.
And they never miss the ball.
All right, the next time I go out, I'm gonna give that a shot, and hopefully I don't miss the ball. So did I miss the ball? No, I didn't. But looking at the hole instead of the ball does feel awkward. Not sure that I'll ever get there, but I do like the thought of taking practice swings while looking at the hole, and then once I do look down at the ball, pulling the trigger quickly before the feel fades away. I hope you enjoyed that conversation and found something there that may help your golf game. For me, I need to focus on ball first contact, become a better ball striker, and remove the fat and thin shots that come from a low point behind the ball. I want to thank Grant again for taking the time out of his day to hopefully help all of us to become better golfers. My request to you, show him some love. I'll post links to his videos in the show notes. Go check them out, like, subscribe. Let's be good to the people that are good to our show. And let me know, did you enjoy this? Would you like to hear more from people out there who can help our community? As always, thanks for listening. I appreciate you being here. I'll be back next week. Thanks, everybody. If you made it this far, thank you. I can't tell you how much it means to me that you hung in there for the whole show. If you enjoyed it, please rate, review, and subscribe. And maybe even share it with a friend who is out there on their own golf journey. If you listen on Spotify, leave a comment or a question, or send me an email at breaking80over50@gmail.com. I promise I'll read every one. All music was provided by Epidemic Sound. I'll leave links to any of the content that I mentioned in the show notes. Keep swinging, keep smiling, and remember, it's a game. Get out there and have fun. Thanks, everybody.